When betrayal strikes, that safety is absolutely destroyed. Lies replace truth, inconsistency replaces reliability, and secrecy, well, it replaces openness. And you find yourself wondering, can I or will I ever trust them again? Hey beautiful, are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal trauma and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Welcome back to today's episode of Beauty Beyond Betrayal. Today, we are going to dive into one of the most essential pieces of rebuilding your marriage after betrayal. What is it? Well, none other than trust. Yep, that's what we're diving into today. Trust is the heartbeat of intimacy. Without it, you really don't have an intimate marriage. You definitely don't have a biblical covenant marriage. And your marriage, well, it's going to feel shaky, unsafe, and fragile. But when trust is present, well, it creates the foundation for safety, security, stability, connection, and love. And here's the truth. When betrayal happens through infidelity, pornography, sexual addiction, or hidden secrets, trust isn't just damaged, it's obliterated. It's shattered into a trillion pieces. So how do we even rebuild something that's been obliterated? Do we just hand out trust blindly and hope it all works out? Absolutely not. No, that's definitely a huge no. That's what we're unpacking today. Why informed trust is so different from what's called blind trust, and how to begin building it in your marriage. So, I hope you're listening to this together with your spouse. This one's a good one to lock arms in, okay? Because you need to have this dialogue. You need to be talking deeply about your trust issues. So, Stop the podcast. If you're not together, go grab him or her and then bring your notebook. Let's sit down and let's have the tough conversation, shall we? We're going to first begin by what exactly is trust inside of a marriage? Well, trust is the belief that your spouse is actually reliable, truthful, and committed to your well-being. And I know some of you shudder when you hear that because that's not the case right now. But I want you to hang tight with me. Trust allows you to feel safe enough to actually be vulnerable, knowing they'll honor you, protect you, and remain faithful to their word. But when betrayal strikes, that safety, security, stability, all of that is actually destroyed. Lies replace truth. Inconsistency replaces reliability. And secrecy, well, it replaces openness. And you find yourself wondering, can I ever trust him again? Will I ever be able to trust him again? And this is where I see many couples make a mistake. They assume that once an apology has been made, or let's say enough time has passed by, trust should automatically be given. It should automatically be restored. They expect it. But that kind of trust is what we call blind trust. So hang with me. I want to dive in with you just for a moment on what blind trust is versus informed trust. And it's important for you to understand the difference between the two so you can clarify which one you're operating in. One, well, you probably were operating in prior to the betrayal. One you're going to want to change into. So let's first look at like blind trust. Blind trust is built on assumption or hope, not actual evidence. It actually says, I just believe you without seeing the proof. But blind trust leaves you vulnerable to further disappointment because because it isn't rooted in reality. You see, blind trust is, okay, I just trust you, willy-nilly, you've not given me a reason not to trust you, so I just trust you. I don't need proof. I don't need to see anything. It's just, yep, you've got all my trust in the whole wide world. And listen, that's what my relationship, my marriage was like prior to the betrayal. Like, I trusted my husband blindly. I didn't need to see proof. I didn't need to ask his whereabouts. I didn't question. I questioned nothing. I just believed him all the time because I just assumed that he would honor me, protect me, that he would remain faithful to his word and to me and to our vows. I just took all that for granted. I hoped that would be that way, right? But I wasn't looking for evidence of that. I just blindly trusted him in this. Well, guess what? It left me vulnerable to huge disappointment when I found out that I was betrayed. Now, informed trust, on the other hand, is a conscious choice. It's built with your eyes wide open, all right? You're not blindly doing it. You're not walking around with your eyes closed and just assuming everything's okay. No, your eyes are wide open, all right? It comes from observing consistent behavior over time. You're seeing truthfulness. You're seeing honesty. You're seeing reliability. You're seeing strong godly character. You're witnessing a man walking in integrity. It's rooted in transparency. There's nothing hidden. There are no secrets between you and your relationship. And it's reinforced by action, consistent action, day after day after day. They are showing you that they are honoring you. They are showing you that they are protecting you. They are showing you that they're remaining faithful to their word. Their words and their actions actually match, right? Informed trust acknowledges that, yes, your partner is human and will make mistakes, of course, but it chooses to place confidence in demonstrated character, not empty promises. Words can speak volumes, but the volumes can be very empty. Ooh, that'll preach, won't it? I'm serious. It really, really will. Think about that. Think about all the empty promises you received while the infidelity or the pornography use was taking place. Words were spoken, but the words were empty. There were no actions to back that up. So this is important for you to understand the difference between blind trust and informed trust. Again, informed trust chooses to place confidence in demonstrated character, not empty promises. And this kind of trust creates a new normal in your marriage after betrayal. So how do you start to build informed trust inside of your relationship? Because after betrayal, you really need this. And really, to be perfectly honest, every couple needs this when they choose to get married, before they even say their vows. This should be established in a relationship prior to. And I believe if marriages were built on informed trust, we would have less betrayal happening in the society inside of these relationships. So how do we do this? Well, here's your first one. Practice transparency and honesty. This is where you're going to be open about your thoughts, your feelings, your fears. Like I said, this should begin even before the vows take place. But most of you, you're married, you have now faced betrayal. So this is where you're going to be honest. You're going to share your thoughts with one another. You're going to choose to be vulnerable with each other. You're going to share your feelings, your fears. You're going to share information, even the small things. The small things do matter. If trust has been broken, that may mean giving your spouse access to your phone, your accounts, your schedule, your email accounts, your iPad, your computer, all of it, like phone records. Listen, there should be no secrets in your relationship. Both of you should have access to all of that. If you don't, you need to reassess your relationship, because a good, godly, covenant relationship is transparent and honest. And remember, tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Honesty builds trust far faster than hiding the small details. And when we hide the small details, it gives the enemy a road in to start destroying your relationship. Here's number 2. Be consistently reliable. This means keep your promises. If you say something and you promise to do it, make sure you follow through. Even with the small things, once again. When you say you're going to be home at 6 p.m., be home at 6 p.m. Now listen, I know that things happen. Accidents happen. You've got weather-related traffic, all of that stuff. Pick up the phone and contact your spouse and let them know what is going on. Be reliable, consistently reliable. Also, when you commit to a boundary, stick to it. Don't break that boundary. Be respectful. Stick to it. Remember, your words and your actions should align. That consistency is what rebuilds security, safety, and stability. Here's number 3. Cultivate effective communication. Now, remember this. Communication is the bridge to understanding. This is where you're going to step into good communication skills. You're going to actively listen. What does that mean? You're going to listen without being defensive, okay? Don't just listen to seek to rebuttal. In other words, many of us do that. So we're not actively listening, nor are we hearing what our spouse is truly saying. So listen with the intent to hear them, to hear past the words and to hear their heart. Show one another that their feelings really do matter to you. Use I statements instead of accusations. Don't point the finger and say you, because remember, you've got 3 more pointing back your way, right? For example, you can say things like, I feel hurt when this takes place. Remember, when we point the finger and say you, we are actually making our spouse our enemy. You're not each other's enemies. Speak about a situation as it is. It is a situation. You are a team that should be able to come together and actually tackle that situation so that you can move through it to get to a healthier place. So again, I feel hurt when this takes place instead of you always whatever. These small shifts make space for connection instead of conflict. And this is what we help our couples do inside of our Marriage Redesign program. We give you healthy communication tools and role play with you to help develop these tools so that you can actually have healthier conversations and healthier conflict resolution. We give you amazing tools to help with this. And couples actually report being able to understand one another at a deep, heartfelt level. All right, here's number 4. Own your mistakes. This is a huge one. Listen, when you make a mistake, and you will at times, own it. Don't minimize it. Don't make excuses. Stop blame shifting it on someone else. Okay, stop all those things. Stop the minimization, stop the excuses, stop the blame shifting. Instead, accept responsibility. Step into it. Offer a genuine apology, one that acknowledges the pain that you've caused and seeks to repair the damage. That's where trust deepens. You can acknowledge it. I know that what I did wounded you at a deep level. And it hurts my heart to know that I put that on you. And I can see it in you. And I know that has to feel horrible. And I am so sorry. And this is what I'm going to do to rectify that. That is the process that you go through. This is how you're going to rebuild trust. Okay, here's number 5. Demonstrate empathy and respect. This is where you're going to validate your partner's emotions. Don't stop just casting the emotions by the wayside, minimizing their emotions, really invalidating them, so to speak. When you say, you're too dramatic, you shouldn't feel that way. That's not being empathetic or respectful by any means. You may not fully understand their emotions, but by all means, respect them enough and step into empathy, step into their shoes so that you can validate it. Respect their boundaries. This shows that you value not just your marriage, but the one you're in the marriage with. Here's number 6. Seek professional help when it's needed. Sometimes you really need some outside support. A good trauma-informed coach, one who understands and specializes in marital infidelity, who can provide a safe environment to process the pain, to build new patterns, and identify the root causes that broke trust in the first place. This is what you need. This is especially crucial after betrayal. So understand that if you start to employ those 6 points that I just gave you, it's going to help you to start stepping into informed trust. But before we end today, I want to share with you why blind trust isn't enough. You see, you can't simply decide to go back to how things were before the betrayal. It doesn't work that way. That marriage is dead. It is over. You too, you and your spouse, you are not the same people prior to the betrayal. The blind trust, you can't live that way anymore, right? Blind trust leads to repeating old patterns, and old patterns can't move into a brand new relationship. It's kind of like, seeking to pour new wine in old wineskins. It's going to burst them. It's not going to work. What you need is informed trust, a trust that grows as your partner consistently shows up with honesty, transparency, and reliability. Listen, it's not about being perfect, okay? It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up time and time again so that you can feel safe to trust again. And listen, my friends, trust can be rebuilt, but it's not an instantaneous thing. And again, it's not going back to the blind trust that you lived in once before. It's intentional, it's informed, and it's grounded in truth. And I can tell you, if your marriage has been shaken, absolutely shattered by betrayal, I want you to know this. There is hope. You don't have to do this alone. That's why our marriage redesign program was created. It's a Christ-centered pathway to help couples just like you not to just survive betrayal, but build a stronger, healthier, more God-honoring marriage on the other side. And we equipped you with all the tools needed to do just that. And we have a 99% success rate because God is at the center of it all. Now, you can learn more by going below in the show notes and clicking on the Marriage Redesign button. That link will take you over to the website. It will explain the program, and there you can set up a free consult to come and meet us to find out more about the program and see if it's a good fit for you. We would love to talk with you and to really help you decide if this is the path that God wants you to go on. So check it out. We have a few spots available because we've had some clients that have actually graduated, and we celebrate those graduations. And that means you have the possibility of coming into the program now because we do have some limited space. So grab it while it's available. So thank you for joining me today on this broadcast. And I pray that you implement some of these steps so that you can start to build informed trust and take the next step to actually get your marriage on the right track by entering into our Marriage Redesign program. Until next time, remember this: you can move from broken trust to lasting love, not by blind faith, but by informed trust, one step at a time. Be blessed. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.